rocking my boat.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino. What is up, everybody? Welcome in on a beautiful Thursday. I'll let you in on a little secret. Exactly 33 minutes ago, 10 years ago. So 10 years and 33 minutes ago, I became a father, became a dad. The little man turns 10 today. I know you're into Pokemon. I know that you're on your Switch, Roblox, whatever it may be, dude. I'm into what you're into. You may never see this, but happy birthday, son. I love you. Hope you have a great day. We're going to have a fun dinner tonight. His party's this weekend. Love you, Bubs. Happy birthday, dude. Anyways, what's going on? We've got our first taste of Kings basketball. Yesterday, the Kings lose 122 to 112. We did post-game show. Thank you for everybody that turned out. I handled those responsibilities. We had over 1,000 that checked in at some point live. Really appreciate that. A lot of good stuff coming from last night with the Kings. What I really want today is your reaction. I want to get your takes on what you saw last night. I've broken it down pretty well. I did last night. I did not do a shoot around this morning because I wanted to rewatch the game. I've done that, so I've got some thoughts on it, and you get to run it back tomorrow night. The Kings, Warriors again. So give me your thoughts. I know what you're thinking about DeMar DeRozan. That's for sure. Holy moly, did he bring a different element to this team? Really great to see. And again, here's what I want to caution. The best thing about last night is that nobody got hurt. That is the best thing that could have come from last night, win or lose. And good or bad last night, small sample size. It's only the first preseason game. Still a lot of time to go before the regular season, although it'll be here quicker than you think. So let's debrief. Let's get into it. I've got audio from the guys. I've also got audio from Coach Brown. You can call the show. Scan the QR code on the screen. Also, it's in the chat. It is linked to the top of the chat. If you want to hit that link, you are welcome to come on. We're only going 60 minutes today. Grant's going to be here at 4 o'clock, getting you ready for Thursday night football. And Niner fan, how you feeling about tonight, Niner fan? We can talk about it a little bit. Niners, Seahawks in Seattle. Looking forward to that one. You know, that's a big one on the calendar in this household, but it's also a big one in Northern California because all you Niner fans, make sure that, by the way, make sure you come back 4 o'clock. Like I said, Grant will be here getting you ready, taking your questions. You'll get first reactions from him about what he saw last night. And also, much bigger than last night in preseason basketball for the Kings, everybody in Florida. If you have loved ones in Florida, if you have friends in Florida, hell, Grant lives in South Florida. Prayers, thoughts. I hope you're safe. I hope you're okay. What a terrifying scene. The roof literally blew off of Tropicana Field. It blew off, and look, there's another one maybe on the way. So praying for all those in Florida. Hopefully the damage is not too bad. And it seemed like a lot of people ended up heeding the warnings of the authorities and evacuating. So prayers and thoughts to those in Florida affected by Hurricane Milton. We're brought to you today by Bennett's West Side Grill in Rockland. You know it. Get to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Check out all their locations. One in Sacramento, Howe and Fair Oaks. Love that one. Frequent that one. Also, Roseville. That's where Grant, Jerry, and I always go to lunch. The Roseville location. Check out the different specials they have. They got happy hour going on today, 2 to 6 o'clock. Sips and tastes. Really good stuff. Our dude Dennis, that's in the chat all the time, he'll tell you about the happy hour. It is really, really bomb. Trust me on that. So get to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Check out their offerings, and a huge thanks to them for sponsoring the show today. All right, I'm all queued up. If you want to call, I'm here for it. Ready to talk about the Kings game. Until then, I will start breaking it down. Bane, you can't see anything. Bane, I might go to the doctor and get checked out, my man. If you can't see anything, but, I'll acknowledge you, bro. Welcome in today. Hope you're doing good. Turn the cameras on. Yeah, right. I'm pretty sure they're saying turn the cameras off, Bane. They don't want to look at this ugly bug. Flores, what's up, man? How you doing today?
Yeah.
Thought the Kings starting 5 plus Monk played pretty well together. Yes, I've got thoughts on it. I thought that the starting 5 played really well. And look at the first half. The first half is what you want to look at. The Kings won the first half, by the way, 68-66. And they did it in a much different way than we usually see, or at least we've seen in the past couple of years. I'm going to go over it here in a second. For those that did not know, Malik Monk left the game in the second quarter last night for a personal reason off the court. Everything's good, according to the team, and he is back, not expected to miss any time. That's why he did not return. And again, best thing from last night, no injuries, but still a lot of good stuff to build on. Definitely some things to work on. We're going to hear about that from Coach Brown in a second. Appreciate it, brother. Really appreciate it. Adam, they did not start the game like it was preseason. No, they didn't. You know why, Adam? You've been going against, and they talk about it after the game, but you've been going against yourselves for how long? Now a week and a half, 2 weeks, and not to mention the open gyms. The team's been here since September and working out together, doing open gyms. So it's the first time you get to see another look. It's the first time the other team or the opponent does not know the plays you're running. So you're going to have a little bit of spunk. And look, DeMar DeRozan has a huge role in the way the Kings came out, not just because of his play. I said it last night on the pregame show, or on the postgame show, excuse me. DeMar DeRozan almost like, okay, I'm going to use this analogy. Like if 4 or 5 dudes show up to go to the club, right? And you don't have a pretty lady with you or a lady with you, where are you going to be standing? You're going to be standing in the back of the line. Are you going to get in? Maybe. Are you going to get any respect from the bouncer? Probably not, right? But what happens if you walk up to the club with a bunch of girls? Yeah, you're getting right in. You're getting in for free. They're going to usher you back to the nicest section, try to get you some bottle service, right? And having DeMar DeRozan on this Kings team, and if you listen to the ESPN analysts in their pregame show, you heard some of them saying, Bob Myers specifically, he thinks that the Kings could be a decent threat in the Western Conference. Having DeMar DeRozan gives you that stamp of credibility, that stamp of respect, to where there is no more, well, it's just Fox and Sabonis, right? Well, they're inconsistent. They're small market stars. No, you have DeMar DeRozan on this team. You have to take them serious now. You have to put some shine on their names. And you saw it in the way that they came out yesterday with that first team offense. And it wasn't the shooting, the 6 for 6, that impressed me the most. It was the way that the offense ran. That's what impressed me the most, because last year we've seen the same concepts, right? Where it's going to be a free-flowing offense. It's going to be positionless. It's going to be a lot of reads, not a lot of called plays. You know what that turned into a lot of times last year? The Kings being stagnant. That's what it turned into. And so I was really anxious coming into last night to see, because we've heard a lot about it. It looks different. DeMar DeRozan says he thinks it's unguardable. And last night, they actually put those principles into play. They started their offense lower into the half court. They didn't start at spots. They put pressure on the defense. So that first 5, and mind you, too, preseason game number 1, you're not putting all your plays on tape. There's no way you're doing that. They only ran a couple, I would really say one really DHO, one cut off of the DHO for Damar, which was really kind of like a curl off of Domas. So that's just one variation. And look what it produced, but also the fact that they weren't starting the offense from beyond the 3-point line. Many times it was starting at the free throw line, the elbow, free throw line extended. That makes the defense have to guard you. That makes the defense need to make a decision on what they're going to do. It also makes those cuts. You saw a couple of them last night. Keegan had some nice finishes around the rim. He made it backdoor cut, side cut. The defense, that's harder to guard when you're closer to the hoop, believe it or not, because there's not as much time for the weak side defender to react. And also, if you're the strong side defender defending Keegan and he is closer in proximity to whoever's running that DHO, you have to deny him a little bit more because he's a little bit more of a threat to be able to catch the ball in the corner. So a lot of good stuff about the offense. I charted, as you guys know, every possession in the first half. So I've got my thoughts on that. We'll go over it here in a few minutes. Everybody, I just got added to group chat in our fantasy football league. I don't know if any of you are parts of group chats. They're either a really good thing or a really bad thing. My wrist keeps buzzing every 2 seconds. My goodness. Anyways, John, go Seahawks. Love it. Yes, DeMar never misses. Thank you, Kevin. That is Boise State. So many times people stop me and they're like, I didn't realize you're a Denver fan. I'm like, I'm not a Denver fan. Cody is a Denver fan. I am a Boise State quasi fan. I guess I'm quasi Boise State family because my brother went there. So yeah, I love Boise State. Having a good football season. Antoine Davis, what are my thoughts on the signing? Peter, I haven't really given it a lot of thought. I've been hyper focused on the Kings with the first preseason game. But I will do that. I'll do that for you, my man. And I will put that on the Kings court shoot around. Speaking of the Stockton Kings, had a chance to connect with Gabriel Harris a couple of days ago. We're still hoping that there is time for Gabe to come on. He still wants to come on. But as the new GM, guess what? He has a lot of more important things than being here with us, but we are still efforting that. Looking forward to it. Let's see. Didn't know there was a group chat. There's not, Mark. So there's not a group chat for the Pick'em League, but for my fantasy football league, which is separate, there's a group chat for that. And so for whatever reason, I just got added to it. And you know that guy, Haunted Horse, the one that's been divorced a few times, comes in here, gives you his takes on the football games on Fridays. Yeah, he does not like group chats either. And he's the one that kind of got in my ear about it. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll rethink this. Maybe it is a little bit annoying. And it can be because you always have those 2 people that start going back and forth. If everybody's talking, no problem. Let's have a good, fun conversation. But if it's just 2 people, take it to the private, take it to the one-on-one text message, in my opinion. Anyways, fantasy football group chat is the worst. Hey, I'll pose this to all of you really quick. Help me out here. Help me out with my fantasy football team, and we'll get back to the Kings. I got a trade offer. I got offered Travis Kelce for the Minnesota Vikings defense. Now, here's the caveat to that. The guy that's offering me the trade, he's a massive Vikings fan. And because I have a little bit of a bleeding heart, I'm like, oh, dude, should I let you have your defense? Once the Vikings get around to their second round of division games, that defense going to get figured out. I don't know. Kelce, is he going to get a bigger role in Kansas City? So help me out. What do you think I should do on that one? Give me your thoughts in the chat too. My pleasure, Peter. My pleasure indeed. All right, so let's talk some more about last night and what we saw from the Kings. DeMar DeRozan. Bane, My current tight end is, I just picked him up this last weekend. It's the Green Bay tight end that went off last week. So that's who I got. Ask for more, Kevin says. See, I love bouncing this stuff off y'all because you know what you're talking about. So DeMar DeRozan, we'll keep that side chat going in the meantime. We're only going 60 minutes today because Grant's going to be here at 4 o'clock. So if you want to call the show, now is the time. DeMar came out, had an excellent game, 15 points in 15 minutes, gave the offense a little bit of a calmness, do you almost want to say? Almost like it was running smoother. And again, small sample size, very small, but it looked good. I liked it. I mean, how can you argue? He was perfect from the field. Now, defensively, another story. The Kings struggled there. The Kings struggled, but I will give the Warriors a little bit of credit. They made some difficult shots in that first half. They were cutting hard. They were playing hard. And the Kings did overplay in some senses. They did not defend the three-point line as good as they should have. By the stats, you can tell that. But offensively, that's where my focus was going to be because that's the big question mark for this team. Defense, we kind of know what it's going to be. I mean, it's not expected to be great. It's not expected to be bad. I think it's going to surprise us on some nights and on others let us down. But offense, can we finally get back to a consistent functioning offense? We saw it in 22-23, the best offense per NBA offensive rating in the history of the association. Last year, not so much. Remember, pace is a big point of emphasis for the Kings this season. And it looked like the Kings, yes, it was. It's a great point, Mark. It has been a great point, or it's a very good point, dude. It was on point last night. Steph came to play. Pajemski, my goodness, dude. Did he know that it was a preseason game? He played last night like it was the NBA Finals. Hell, credit to him. I love dudes that play like that. What's up, Paul? Welcome back to the show, dude. Look, we got Paul back. Yeah! It has been a while. Hope you're doing well, Paul. Good to have you back. So DeMar last night was talking just about his experience of driving to the arena, where there's some nerves. What's he looking forward to? I really loved what he said at the end of this quote. Here's DeMar DeRozan after last night's game. And of course, the first sound drop of the day always wants to go a little slow. Don't judge me, Paul. Here's DeMar.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working extremely hard all week, man. It's been a long week of just constantly, beating each other up, pushing, competing, trying to learn. I know for me, learning offense, trying to make it easier on myself and easier on other guys. So, that's just a credit of just how hard we've been working and get out there, finally go against somebody else. It felt a lot easier in comparison of, us beating up each other.
Any nerves?
I was kind of nervous, more so I think was just anxious, especially, the reality, like, even driving to the arena today, it was first time, first feeling, everything kind of new routine of everything and, stepping into a new arena, so it was kind of good nerves, but, I was more so excited.
Did it feel smooth out there? It looked really smooth.
No, it felt real smooth, and that's a good sign because we still got so much we need to clean up and build on. I'm pretty sure watch film tomorrow, work on stuff and continue to, clean everything up. I'm looking forward to that a lot.
He's looking forward to cleaning it up a lot. I love that. That is the mindset that this Kings team needs to have. Seems like they've had it all off season. I said it from the mountaintops. De'Aaron Fox has had one of his best off seasons of of his career, in my opinion, and not just mine, others that follow this team. And I want to show you this. Look at how drastic this is from what we saw last year. This is the Kings first half shot chart. Look at all of the green inside of the three-point line. That was not what we saw last year. In fact, last night, the Kings only took 27 three-pointers. Now, we don't know if that's enough. Does it need to be more? Here's what I do know. The Kings beat the Warriors and stayed with the Warriors points wise by doing it in the paint, doing it in the mid range. The Kings outscored the Warriors in the first half 24-10 in the paint. They finished 52-22 in the paint. That, my friends, that Bane, that Peter, that Paul, that Adam, that Kevin, that is a beautiful sight. That is sustainable winning offense. So I will say this, when the second unit came into the game, the offense changed. And I don't know if that's by design. I don't know if that was just the players not having a lot of run together. Your first rotation was Mason Jones, Malik Monk, and Jalen McDaniels. But then the offense got pushed out. Yes, it got pushed out more like last year, got more stagnant. And I started to get a little bit worried. But then I started to think, I'm like, well, what does Malik Monk do really well? It's the pick and roll. Malik Monk is excellent at the pick and roll with Domantas Sabonis. So maybe that is by design. Now, as for Keegan and Keon in the starting lineup, I thought Keon looked a little excited. He looked like he was overplaying stuff a little bit, maybe a little bouncy. When you hear me say bouncy, that means excited, a little bit jazzed up, maybe too jazzed up. And how could you not be? You're guarding Steph freaking Curry. This time last year, you were a two-way player, looking at spending most of your time in Stockton. And now you're in the starting lineup with the Sacramento freaking Kings, a stacked starting lineup. But Keon and Keegan, here was the problem I had with them last night. I thought they hesitated a couple times on offense. You could tell there were shots that were open for them that actually slowed the offense up when they hesitated and didn't take those shots, and it screwed the spacing up because of the cutting. So last year we heard about Mike Brown pushing Keegan to take the shots if you're open. In fact, Mike pulled him out of games for not taking shots at times. He's got to be able to shoot that when he is open. Same thing goes for Keon. Now, Keon's looks weren't, I would say Keon's looks were a little bit more questionable than Keegan's. Keegan's should have been shot. Keon was in the middle, but the same thing goes because the way this team is running their offense, at least through one preseason game, they're putting pressure on every single defender on the floor, meaning you are not giving the defense an opportunity to sag off of you. Yeah, they're going to help off a little bit, but not nearly as much as last year. And if you are not willing and able to step up and hit a shot when you are open, that opens the door for the defense to sag off a little bit more and help in other places. And you don't want the defense to have to do that. Well, technically you do, but then you definitely have to shoot when the ball comes to you, because games like last night, if that was a regular season game and DeMar DeRozan got those looks that quick into the game, into the first quarter and was rolling, the defense would have adjusted and it would have been much different. You probably would have seen a little bit closer of a hedge or a double on him. So Keon, they've got to shoot the ball when they have it. As for Domantas Sabonis, I thought he did really, really well in a couple of areas. One, was not hesitant to shoot the jump shot. That was something that we've seen. He doesn't always want to step into it. He did last night. I enjoyed that very much. Also, I thought Domas was the one that set the pace for the Kings offensively. Doesn't that sound funny? The center setting the pace. I say it because how many times did we see Domas be the first one up the court and have his guy pinned under the hoop? And you got to get there. If you're a guard, if you see your big man flying down the floor and you see him open, what's your responsibility? Get him the damn ball. And so that helped the offense push up, get up court faster, and it resulted in a couple of fouls, getting Domas to the free throw line. So really positive there. Now, as we talk about the flip side of things, the defense, it was not as physical as Mike Brown would like to see it normally, especially as we get into the regular season. They did not communicate as well as they need to communicate. You saw at times a couple of Kings going towards the same guy taking the three-pointer. That's got to get cleaned up. But overall, Again, small sample size, one game. Very impressed with what I saw. And a big question also coming into this season was, what are the referees going to do? How are they going to call it? And I remind you, this is a one-game sample size, but the refs in the first half let them play. And if you remember last year, that was to the benefit of the Kings. That helped the Kings. That's when they got physical. That's when they became a defense-first team. That's when transition became the special teams for them. And a lot of that had to do with Keon, but that stuff's contagious. Look at Keegan Murray yesterday. That is what I absolutely love about Sacramento Kings fans. How many other arenas in the NBA would have stood up and started cheering when a guy is defending a player? Like, that was incredible. That is what Sacramento is all about. It's hard work. It's fucking effort. That is what the fans sit down in the seats for. And you couldn't help but appreciate what Keegan did on Steph in that possession. Now, granted, it did look a little bit wonky. He did kind of look a little bit funny, but damn it, he got the job done and it got the team jazzed up. So credit to Keegan Murray. He is definitely still the leader of this team defensively. He is the guy guarding the best player on the court night in and night out. But back to the physical play and the refs letting them play. Did you notice the difference in the start of the game and the start of the second half? The younger guys were not able to play physical without fouling. The refs didn't change the whistle. It's just the veterans know the little things, the secrets. They know the little hooks you can get away with. They know the angles that the refs are looking at, and they know how to be physical without fouling. So that will come in time. That is what training camp is for. That is what the preseason is for. Here's Mike Brown. Here's what he had to say after the game about the Kings' performance.
Man, thank goodness this is a preseason, because I think we would have been in the record books for threes made. So I'm glad this was a preseason game. Obviously, that's where it started for us. We did not do a great job communicating. We did not do a great job with our ball pressure. We did not do a great job with our physicality. And so they got open looks from the three-point line because we were bad with all of those things. When you're not up guarding your man and you're watching the ball, if he doesn't have the ball, if he moves, he's going to beat you because he knows when he's moving. So you're reacting to him. And so our physicality has to be better. Our communication in screening situations, whether it's on the ball or off the ball, has to be better, because we got cracked too many times. And then we wouldn't talk, and two guys would go with the guy that's diving to the rim and leaving a guy open, or vice versa. Our three-point defense, obviously shooting 54% from the three, was not good. And they took 52 threes because 30 of them were probably wide open, and they had no other choice but to shoot the three. Other than that, I thought offensively we scored 68 points in the first half, and our guys did a nice job trying to execute, trying to move the ball, trying to touch the paint and get the ball out. Did a great job with spacing, a decent job with our pace, and so there were a lot of good things offensively in the first half, and then we had a few bright moments in the second half on that end of the floor. But this game came down to, no matter who was on the floor, us being able to defend the three-point line, which we obviously did not do a good job of.
Yeah, they didn't do a great job of it, but again, I give them a quasi pass in this sense. The Warriors, especially in the first half, made some hard shots. There was some good playmaking for a preseason game. Now, it wasn't the Warriors' first preseason. You know what, guys? Excuse me for a second. Yeah, this going away. I can't deal with the buzzes on my wrist. So, because what if it's school? What if it's my wife? Fantasy football guys, stop. Take it to the privates. Anyways, getting back to what I was saying. Shoot, they made me lose my damn train of thought. Fantasy football, my goodness. Anyways, getting back to it, the playmaking in the first half by the Warriors was really good. That was a high quality first game between two teams, the Kings playing their first preseason game. So very encouraged what I saw overall. Definitely some things to work on. I have some worries, which we'll get to here in a few minutes. Let's get back to the chat. Points in the paint with a balanced 3-point attack is a winning basketball. Absolutely. It is. And that, to me, and here's the other thing about it. Mike Brown has talked at length, Paul, about taking things off of Domas's plate, taking things off of De'Aaron's plate, and having that balanced attack, and then also having guys, i.e. Keon Ellis, that can do the little things, get in there, be a little bit of a bulldog. Mason Jones, now another young guy. I love Mace. Covered him closely last year in Stockton. Love his energy. It is contagious. You can't help but meet Mason at his level of energy. But he had 4 fouls in the first half, ended up fouling out in 17 minutes. That is a little bit of a concern, but he did have a couple of really good defensive plays. He got on the floor. He caused a turnover. I thought that was great. Those little things, take that stuff off of your star's plate. Now, the balanced attack with DeRozan offensively takes things off of De'Aaron's plate, takes things off of Domas's plate. In a sense, Domas gets freed up, as we've talked about, to run the floor, get down there, pin his guy down, get to the free throw line early. And how about Foxy? You know, Foxy was predictable last year. He was predictable, and it wasn't his fault. It was not his fault. The problem was you've got Monk who can make plays. You've got Fox who can make plays. You have Domas that can make plays. Outside of that, you have finishers. And so the spotlight is directly on you, to the point where the light is burning your skin. So you hyper focus in on what that guy's strengths are, what their guy's weaknesses are, and you know what they're going to do. They only have a couple of options usually, especially when the offense gets stagnant. So fast forward back, or rewind back to last night. The times that the ball came to De'Aaron on the perimeter, he blew by his defender many times. That floater looks like it's getting so much better. It's balanced, and it gives you numerous ways to attack a defense. And I love it. Again, small sample size, very small. Not going to look like this every single night. But Kings fans, I said it last night on the postgame show. If you look at the market of free agents this last summer, and you look at the Kings budget, and you're realistic, is there a better fit than DeMar DeRozan for what this team needed? And it was the mid-range, as Paul said, as many of you have said, because the Kings were not bad from the mid-range last year. They just didn't shoot a lot from the mid-range. So a big difference indeed. Yeah, Dennis, he did not break a sweat. Free throws were good last night, 13 of 15. The turnovers, again, I really like that. Malik Monk said in practice a couple days ago, you'll know, and I'm paraphrasing, you'll know things are clicking and we're meshing well when we're not turning the ball over. The Kings only had 4 turnovers in the first half. 4 turnovers in their first preseason game. That is damn good. You got to be proud of that. De'Aaron Fox commented on that after the game as well. Also, into the second quarter, they only had 1 turnover midway through the second quarter. So good things. The problem now, the thing that I'm looking at is what's going to happen at the forward position. Can Trey Lyles return to the court in time for the season? How does this look when Kevin Huerter gets into the fold? Can you maybe sneak him in to a preseason game? That will be we're yet to see if that's going to happen. He has not been, as far as I know, reevaluated yet. It's supposed to happen anytime. So he's been doing stuff in training camp, but nothing full go, nothing with the group unless it's non-contact. So can Kevin play a little bit of three? It's an ongoing discussion here in Sacramento. But who's going to be that four? Jalen, his minutes were okay last night. Nothing blew me away. I didn't think he was terrible, but I didn't think he was good or great either. Alex Len got a ton of minutes last night, which is good for him. He's got to be able to run, and he's shown the ability to run with this group in the last season and a half. So Monty McNair's left himself in a position where there's still flexibility. You don't have a bad contract on this team. So do you make a move? Scal. I don't think Scal looked bad last night. Scal has done some great things in Stockton since coming back to the organization. And Scal is partially responsible for the development of some of the younger guys, specifically Keon Ellis, Mason Jones. So he is an important part, but I don't know that he's a guy that's going to be on the roster. Orlando Robinson, he's got the MCL injury. He's out 4 weeks. What do you do with the back end of this roster? Who is going to be, besides Trey Lyles, in that backward forward spot? And I think that is still a question that is yet to be answered. Boogie Ellis last night, I thought Boog looked really good. What did you guys think? Boogie was in double digits, 10 points. The game did not look like it was going too quick for him. Definitely had a few breakdowns defensively, a couple turnovers here and there. And, the thing with Boogie Ellis is a little bit complicated because he's not a two-way guy. If the Kings cut him, they can't send him down to Stockton. He has to go through the G League draft. So there's a lot of questions at the back end of the roster, and that's exactly what the preseason is for. Looking forward to getting some of those answered for sure. Peter asking what defenses are available. I don't know because I took my watch off, Peter. I'm sure if I looked at that group chat, I would know everything and more about the league. Let's see, Paul. Yeah, free throws were good. Dennis, I thought the shots they made and shots they made, and it's not their first game together. Okay, I'll try to put that together for you, Dennis. I like the idea of the Kings playing zone defense. Yeah, Romanowski, Jerry and I talked about that. They're not going to, I highly doubt you're going to see any of that in the preseason. And one thing to remember about last night's game, both of these teams are small. The Warriors and the Kings, they're not big teams. So that also changed the pace of this game. And the Kings want to play fast. Monty McNair has said, Mike Brown has said they want to be back in the top 5 in terms of pace. But that's not going to be a typical, the way the Kings were asked to defend last night, that's not going to be asked of them night in, night out in terms of chasing cutters all the way around. That was almost playing like a Princeton style offense. That was almost playing an Air Force style offense that the Warriors were running, and credit to them. They looked good. They brought it. And that is a good test. That is what you want in the preseason. And I go back to this, no injuries for the Kings. I want to get back to the zone in a second because that is a really good thing to be talking about. 13 to 15. Yep. Just said that. Tough shots. Yeah. I agree. Movement without the ball is a la Coachy. Love Coachy. You know what pisses me off, Paul? That when the NCAA tournament was here, that they lit the beam for UCLA, but Princeton, Coachy's team, had a win, a massive upset. They go to the Sweet 16. You don't light the beam for Coachy's team? What are we doing here? What are we doing?
What?
Yes, 5 guys weren't playing last night. That is correct, Dennis. But, my man, how long are those 5 guys out? Let's count them up. Kevin Huerter, still not cleared. You've still got Trey Lyles to be reevaluated with his injury, a soft tissue injury. Remember what that did to Trey Lyles last year? That took him out for a while. The Kings started the season without him. Not saying it's the same injury because I don't remember what it is right off the top of my head, but it's soft tissue. That's a problem. So those are 2 parts of what are supposed to be Mike Brown's rotation. according to the pundits, according to the talking heads. Orlando Robinson, you want to get a look at him, right? So Malik left. So yeah, Dennis, I get it. But even if those guys play, outside of Trey Lyles, you still have to have something behind him. And I'm not convinced, and again, small sample size, that Jalen McDaniels is that guy. I need to see more out of Jalen, more than I saw last night. And I worry about the bigger teams in the West. And I know that's going to be where the zone defense comes in, Romanowski. But that's where I worry. A guy like Jalen he's a runner. You know, he's an above the rim guy, give you a 3 once in a while, gives you some length defensively, but he can be pushed around. McLaughlin, you know, that brings up a whole nother conversation that I brought up on the post-game show that I'm going to bring up here. I'm going to ask all of you. Didn't Boogie play with Bronny? Who's had the better line? Yes, Boogie has played with Bronny. I don't know who had the better line, to be honest with you. I think Boogie, well, if we're talking about college, yeah, absolutely. Boogie had the better line than Bronny. Bronny barely played last season for USC. So, yeah, no shit, right? The beam thing, bullshit. Okay. Here's my other question for you. You know what, Dennis? We're going to put that down for a second, because my first question before I ask that is, what the hell is everybody doing tonight for dinner? Do me a favor. Dennis knows this. Go check out Bennett's Restaurants. Yes, that's Bennett's West Side Grill in Rockland right there, staring you right in the face. They've got 3 locations in the area. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com. I'm telling you, prime cuts of seafood, prime cuts of steak, the redfish. I don't know any place else in Sacramento that has blackened redfish. And no, it's not the color of Grant's hair, because that's what I thought when I first heard about it. But it is freaking unreal. It is incredible good. Comes with a lemon wedge and a side of sauteed spinach. Also, their steaks, they bring them out to you on a platter. They let you pick your steak. Such a fun experience. And by the way, it's not going to break the bank. They have incredible specials. Brunch on the weekends. You can get a bottle of champagne and 2 entrees for under $50. Dine and wine Mondays, 2 entrees at dinner and a bottle of wine under $70. Happy hour 2 to 6. Sips and tastes, 60 different wines by the glass. Good wines at that, like Rombauer Shard. Yeah, Bennett's is the real freaking deal. You can go to bennettsrestaurants.com not only to check those things out, but you can make reservations, buy gift cards, and so much more. Also, beautiful private dining rooms. Beautiful private dining rooms. If you're having an office get-together, holiday party, give Brian and the team a call. They will reserve it for you. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring today's shows. That is bennettsrestaurants.com. Go check it out. Do me a favor. All right, McLaughlin, there you go, my man. Now, here's my question after watching last night. This is one question that I wrote down. You want to read my questions? And my question is this. Do the Kings have a true point guard? I mean that. Top to bottom of the roster, do the Kings have a true point guard? And my follow-up question to that would be, is that by design? De'Aaron Fox, after the game, was talking about the offensive responsibilities, what is supposed to be done on offense, and I thought his answer was really interesting. Here is, this one is about defense. Excuse me. Let's get to De'Aaron on offense.
So I wouldn't really say it was surprising. I think that first half only having 4 turnovers is definitely good. If you can keep that up throughout the entire season, you're in a great position. But I think I don't think our offense really surprised us now.
Kings fans get their first taste of what DeRozan can bring. And
so the offense doesn't surprise him. He did go on to say that everybody needs to know every position, with the exception of the point guard position. De'Aaron's got to have the point guard down for when they run set plays. But watching last night, And thinking about De'Aaron Fox's tenure in Sacramento, I'm not ready to say that De'Aaron Fox is a true point guard. I'm not. Now, he falls under the point guard category, certainly, but he's not a Chris Paul point guard. He's not one of those. He's not one of those guys that's setting other guys up. Tyus Jones. He's not. He's not what we had John Stockton, that kind of point guard, which is interesting to me. And that brings me to Jordan McLaughlin. And either is Malik Monk, and really either is Boogie to a degree. Look at how many threes Boogie put up last night. Now, again, thought Boogie looked really good in my opinion. But what's Jordan's game like? He didn't play a ton in Minnesota, although he shot the three well with a small sample size. But is that something that can benefit or would hurt this team? And it's something I think we should monitor as the season goes along, because I don't know if the Kings need a true point guard. Maybe they do. The way the ball moved last night, they're just fine, especially with that first unit. But that has been one of those big questions hanging over Kingsland over the past 2.5 seasons. Do they need a Josh Hart type? Do they need a TJ McConnell? Somebody that is administrating. I mean, a great example of problems when you don't have a guy like that is Phoenix. Think about what Phoenix was asking Devin Booker to do last season and look at their success. Not very good. So I wonder, what would De'Aaron Fox look like with a true point guard next to him? Think about that for a second. So a lot of fun things to get to. USC Boogie by far in college. Absolutely. I would like a steak, but I'm not in the 916. Kevin, next time you're in the 916, we will get you a Bennett steak, my man. By the way, we're going to do a Kings watch party for If You Don't Like That. It will be it'll be a road game, and we'll choose one of the locations. It'll be free to come out. Grant and I will do our broadcast from there. We'll do pregame, halftime. Maybe we could get Jerry Reynolds there live with us for halftime, and then do our postgame show and watch the game with all of you. So stay tuned to our X accounts. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channels. Most of you are subscribed to If You Don't Like That already, but if you're not, please give us a follow on YouTube. You will not be disappointed. There is more content there than you have time to watch. And we've got great specials, great interviews. Sean Salisbury comes on every Wednesday with Grant every Tuesday. Jerry Reynolds comes on with me on the King's Court. Make sure you're following that as well. So make sure that you're paying attention to us, because we are going to be doing a lot of fun stuff this season for all of you. And by the way, new merch is going to be dropping. New merch is dropping before the start of the season. Hopefully have it to you so you can have it on opening night if you want to be wearing and representing the channel. And yes, we are rolling out some Grant and Ryan merch too, as well as some Kings merch. So I don't know why you'd want to walk around with anything with my face on it, but it will be there. If you want to have tomatoes and bananas thrown at you. Let's see. John, guess what I'm doing for dinner? Asparagus. Asparagus, John. You are absolutely doing asparagus. We had Davion, but it's more so Fox. Yeah, Davion was probably the closest thing to a true point guard this team had. That's a good point. Don't have him anymore. It was interesting, though, what Jerry Reynolds said this last week on the show. He thought that Keon Ellis, now not as good one-on-one in the defensive half court as Davion Mitchell, he thought Keon Ellis overall was a better defender, or is a better defender than Davion Mitchell. And he thought that Keon opens things up defensively for the Kings, specifically De'Aaron Fox, that Davion Kevin Huerter could not. I found that to be very interesting. Not many are like Stockton. Stockton was a bad example. Good point, Paul. Keeping me in check. Paul. Damn, dude. Why you got to do that to the host, my man? Fox is a complete PH, offense and defense. Yes, he is a great player. Complete player indeed. Let's see. Keep them coming in the chat. If you want to give me a call, you are more than happy to. Would love to hear from you. Be moving to San Antonio sometime. Okay. Good for you. Domas, true point center. Yeah, he is a point center. Good point. Now, let's talk zone defense, close out the show really quick, because Romanowski brought it up. That is going to be probably the wild card for this Kings team defensively. The zone defense is really, really, really the wild card. And I say it's the wild card because as the Kings are currently constructed, they are undersized. No secret about that. But last year with the zone defense, the Kings actually did pretty damn well. And the liability of running zone defense is two things: giving up too many threes, although that's a give and take. You want teams to shoot a lot of threes. You want them to take shots out of sync or early in the shot clock. But the bigger liability with the zone defense is giving up offensive rebounds. Now, last year, that was not a problem. The Kings were second in the league at keeping teams off the offensive rebound or offensive boards. Can't talk for a living, can you, Ryan? They were also 12th at offensive rebounding themselves. So I'll say that again. Second in keeping their opponent off of the offensive boards, and that included them running some zone. And the zone, which you will not see in the preseason, to me, is going to give the Kings a nice change of space or change of pace to combat some of the bigger teams in the league and to possibly make those big guys that may not be as athletic, your Goberts, make them make plays for their teammates. The Kings had success against the Timberwolves last year, partially because of the zone defense. Now, the zone defense isn't just in the half court. This is where the zone defense helps the Kings tremendously. And having Keon Ellis on the court really makes sense for this. You have him pick up usually about 3/4 court and put a little pressure on the ball. You make it look like it's going to be man defense, and then you drop into the zone. And it's not just one type of zone defense. There's many types of zone that you can run. But the point of that, mixing up the looks and interchanging it with the man defense, is you have to make the offensive team take time off the shot clock, recognizing that it's a zone defense and then getting into their zone offense rather than what they've been running. And so then you look up, all of a sudden 12 seconds left on the shot clock and they've got to get rushed. And I think the Kings have some length and the ability to do that. And you're not going to see it again in the preseason, but I think it will be, and Jerry Reynolds agrees with me, a big part of what they do on defense. And the key to it, again, is boxing out, finding a man. I talked about it the last couple days. Huge emphasis on offensive rebounding and rebounding as a whole. In Kings camp a couple days ago, in a scrimmage, Mike Brown said you can get 2 points for an offensive rebound. The games go to 10, and one team won the scrimmage with 5 offensive rebounds. That's the type of emphasis that the Kings are putting on it, both offensively and keeping other teams off of the offensive boards. And the reason that you didn't see a ton of offensive rebounds last night was pretty straightforward. They shot the ball at a high rate, the Warriors. And usually when you're shooting as many threes as they did, you'll see some long rebounds as well. What's up, James? My man. How you doing, dude? Hope you are doing well today on this Tuesday. Let me remind you, Grant is going to be here at 4 o'clock. So we're going to get ready to wrap up the show here in a few minutes. What were the negatives that you took away from last night? What is your top concern coming from last night? Obviously, DeMar DeRozan seems to be the story of last night. I actually have something that I couldn't believe was real. You know how these celebrities get hacked sometimes and pictures come out, tweets come out? I think Shannon Sharp. No, Shannon was not hacked. He admitted to that. But, you know, like weird stuff will get posted and then it goes viral, whatever. I thought an NBA player got hacked yesterday. I could not believe my eyes when I saw this. Can someone please explain to me why we're getting on a plane and heading to Milwaukee for one preseason game? That's LeBron James.
What? 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 What?
What the hell happened to LeBron James? I'm serious. I mean this. What has happened to LeBron James? Think about the start of his career. Championship, championship, championship. I want to win a championship so bad, I'm going to build a super team to guarantee that I win a championship. Then you get a little confidence under your belt. You get your ring. Now I want to go win a championship for my hometown, which I respect. I like that. Cleveland, this is for you. Wasn't that LeBron's thing? Now, fast forward to this point in his career, playing with my son, wasting a draft pick. Nobody would have drafted Bronny. They could have signed him as a free agent. Bringing in your own head coach, JJ Redick, and then sitting there and saying you had nothing to do with it. You and JJ never discussed it. Then going as far as to tell Bronny, don't call me dad at practice. When did this dude's focus shift from championships to, I don't know. What is LeBron's focus? It's not championships. Can you imagine a leader, a face of the NBA, sending that tweet out? Like, are you kidding me? And I get it. I understand the context. Why are we only going there for one game? Here's the problem. It's on social media. We all know this. When you look at text messages, when you're looking at tweets, you don't know what the tone is behind it. It's awful. It's a terrible look. It's an awful look. I couldn't believe it when I saw that. I don't know. This LA team, I don't know what to expect from them. And quite frankly, if I'm Anthony Davis and Bronny James is on the active roster and Bronny James is consistently getting minutes, I'm going to want to trade. I'm going to ask for a trade right now because Anthony Davis is near the end of his, he is closer to the end than the beginning of his prime. And obviously LeBron James has his mind elsewhere, otherwise, other places than basketball and winning a championship, ownership, other things, business, playing with my son. Now you don't want to get on a plane, which you get paid how much money to do? A private plane? And go stay in a Ritz-Carlton and play a basketball game? Get the hell out of here, LeBron. It's garbage, man. Don't you think this is like the time LeBron should be zipping it? You can't take this Lakers team serious. You can't. It's a joke down there. I hope I'm wrong. And you know who the victim in all this is? It's Bronny James. Bronny James didn't ask for any of this. He went through a really tough medical situation. He almost died, right? I love the fact that he is healthy enough to play basketball. I love the fact that he's trying to be his own player, his own person. You know who won't let him be his own person? That guy right there. What do you think Bronny's thinking? Dad, did you... What? So you're a leader, Dad? You freaking kidding me? Get out of here. And by the way, as for Bronny, you want my take on Bronny? The G League needs him, and Bronny needs the G League. That is exactly where Bronny should be. That's where he should grow. He would be a much bigger story if Bronny James, who clearly was not at the level of talent to be drafted to the NBA, clearly he was anybody that scouts basketball will tell you the same thing. That was a courtesy pick. Now, if Bronny goes through, pays his dues, grinds his ass off, which, by the way, Grant's talked about it all the time. Peja's son played with Bronny, and he said he's a great kid. Peja has told Grant that. I'll let Grant talk about that. But if Bronny went down to the G League and really worked his game and actually came up and was impactful, that is a much bigger story success-wise and business-wise for the NBA in multiple ways. It's a bigger story than LeBron and his son playing together. It's LeBron's son not being the chosen one, having to work his ass off, which I'm not saying he is not done. Do not take that from this conversation. Bronny has worked his tail off. I have personally watched his workout videos. I've talked to people. He has worked his tail off. He is just not at the NBA caliber yet. But to have him start from that and turn himself into an NBA player and then come into the NBA and have a big impact, that is a bigger story than LeBron getting a couple of charity minutes with his son. And man, it would do so well in the G League and bring the spotlight to that league that it desperately needs, because there is good basketball in the G League. Exhibit 1, your Stockton Kings ran the right way, doing the right things, scouting and producing, growing, developing impactful NBA players. So LeBron James, bad, dude. Not well done. Opposite of well done.
Damn!
Not good, Bronny. Or Bron. Come on, Bron. Seriously, dude. You don't take that down? Bad look, Bron. Real bad look. Anyways, Grant's going to be here just under an hour, 4 o'clock. Definitely would love to have you join him. He's going to get you ready for Thursday Night Football. Oh, you want my Thursday Night Football prediction? Seahawks win. All right, back to Grant. I had to get that in, sorry. Back to Grant. Join him at 4 o'clock. By the way, also your chance at 4 o'clock to choose Grant's Rant. That's right, a rant with Grant, sponsored by EDH Motors. All you got to do is have a better idea for a rant than Grant's going with. If he likes your idea better, he will do that rant on the spot. That segment and more coming up at 4 o'clock. Make sure you join him right back here on If You Don't Like That. As always, appreciate everybody being here today. Thank you to everybody in the chat. We've got Kings basketball again tomorrow night. Looking forward to that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Really would appreciate it. And definitely check out the Kings Court. Do me a favor. You will not be disappointed. Not only just the live show, but you get your weekend shoot-arounds and you get your daily shoot-arounds, which is exclusive insider audio that I do not charge for. I tell you what I'm hearing about the team. I tell you what's going on. I tell you what's going on inside the building. You will definitely enjoy it. Available pretty much anywhere you find your podcast. So, all right, make it a great one. Join Grant right back here at 4 o'clock. I appreciate all of you. And make it a great rest of the night. I'm going to go celebrate the little man's birthday. But have fun tonight. Enjoy Thursday Night Football. We will be back tomorrow here on the Kings Court to wrap up the week. Royal Rumble Friday. That means you can come in at any time, talk about mostly anything that you want to talk about. And you could bring multiple people with you. We could have 5, 6, 7, 8 people on the screen. However, Baki, if you're watching, do not have your TV on behind you. You are suspended from TV privileges, Baki. Ask John Finch about that. Anyways, make it a great one. Come back at 4 o'clock with Grant. Go Kings. Light the damn beam. Court is dismissed.